Hey everyone, how are you doing today? Welcome to Rhythm and Rome with Benef, Paul, and Trecia. Hi guys, how are you doing today?
What
Good.
up? What
Yep.
up? What up?
Hanging in there.
I was beginning to wonder if you guys were here.
No, I'm actually a little bit cold, hence why I got a sweater on and stuff like that. It's literally 50 something degrees out here. So
Same here. Same here.
oh
It feels good.
Good. Well, it must be nippy. Well, it's 95 here in the in Big O
God.
H Town. Yeah, nice and humid.
Yeah.
But as we talk about the weather, I did want to
Mm.
continue to welcome the rest of you all here with us here today. As I said, this is Rhythm and Rome, our beautiful podcast, and we're season two again. I'm so excited. Here we talk about all our cultural differences, similarities, all the craziness in between. So buckle up with us and enjoy today's episode. We're talking about luxury travel, and Benef, you had a very, very interesting interview. We talk about the fact that we're not a travel show, but we kind of are. So, what did we talk about this week? Who did we talk to?
Well, so first, yes, before I say that though, I do want to quote Coco Chanel from the
Uh-oh.
Chanel company, who says luxury is a necessity that begins where necessity ends. Okay, so
Ooh,
what we're talking about is not a necessity. This is luxury travel. So it's not just like regular business travel or just going to, anywhere down the
yeah,
street. This is a different
Mhm.
yeah,
category altogether, which is what John Rees from J5 Travel
yes.
specializes in. So he's got a travel company. I met him back when I thought I wanted to be a travel advisor for a hot minute because I love
Mhm.
travel and I like planning. But what I didn't
Yes.
realize was that to own a business, there's a lot of things that need to be done. And I was like, I don't want to do these things. So the whole entrepreneurship was challenging for me. Coming from the military, I had people to do a lot of things. So I would
Mhm.
just
You're
direct
like,
and
it's enough
organize.
responsibility. I'm good.
Yeah, so I was all by myself, like a solopreneur. And okay, so anyway, that's where I met him, and so he is very successful with his business. He's got 8 people, including him, in his
Mhm.
company, and each person specializes in different regions of the world or different like cruises. Someone might do cruises, someone might do
Right.
group travel. So yeah, I've used him before myself. I went to
Where's he
Dubai.
based?
He's in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
Oh,
So
nice.
and
Okay.
yeah, but I believe his people are all over. And so he
Mhm.
planned my trip for me and my family to Dubai, and everything went really, really smooth. And so that's why I wanted to interview him and ask him about luxury travel and some other topics, but specifically, how do we define it? What is luxury travel? Because I know what I
Right.
think, and you guys are probably similar, but what is it really?
Firstly, luxury is a there's a very broad description for luxury because it's very different for every person, for every client. For
Okay.
some, luxury is what's their hotel room. It has to be a suite with a private pool or something like that. For others, it's a trip to, a remote region to connect with a tribe or something like that, or to go to Mongolia and ride horses with some nomads. That can be luxury. That'd be quite a rough experience. Sleeping in a tent. But for some people, that is complete luxury. Like to do something so different and so wonderful to connect with other people. So it's a very big balloon luxury, and
Okay.
the trick is for each client is defining what their version of luxury is.
I think for me, it's for me, I think it's challenging to define as a whole luxury travel because like I think we mentioned before, luxury travel, it's different for so many different reasons and stuff like that. And I know what it is for me personally. It's just me, luxury travel to me is me giving myself a treat or something that makes you know, my brain think that I deserve this, because we need to treat ourselves. And for me, that's the treat, for me, kind of thing. And it doesn't matter where the destination may be or something to that effect. It doesn't have to be something that's far, far away. Like, for example, I can go to the French Riviera, which is just an hour flight from here, but I'm gonna do it luxuried up, pampered up kind of thing too as well. So for me, it's more of I'm going
Pampered
to
up is
treat
what,
myself.
Paul? Is that spa? Is that, is
The
that
whole
dinner?
shebang, hells to the yeah. It's from okay, because it's an hour away, it's from the plane to definitely the hotel stay with all the amenities that goes in it. So we're talking about 4 to 5 stars with the pampering involved. It must be on the beach. And, the eating doesn't necessarily need to be a Michelin, but it has to be a really nice restaurant within that area and stuff like that. So that's for me.
Okay.
And treating. So treating myself and pampering everything that goes with it.
Yeah, it's about
What about you, Benef? What's
experience.
that?
Oh, well, that's what I was saying. It's about the experience that, each individual client that wants to have, like each person. So my experience of luxury, what I want to have is I do want to have like a seamless experience where I'm not feeling stressed that I have to worry about getting to the next location, that I have to worry about if the flight's delayed and now I have to, I've missed my other flight. Now I have to do all that calling and figuring out. Someone else is doing that. So it's also, I mean, to go with what Paul said too about the higher end hotels that have those amenities, that have that customer service that I'm looking for, that quality. The food goes into that. The whole experience, I mean, from the getting to the airport to arriving at the hotel, and then the types of tours that I'm doing, for me, all of that go factors into it. But it's not the same for everyone, as John explained. It could be trying to really connect with the locals of the area, or really understand the culture, which could look very different for someone else.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, luxury, I mean, for me, I kind of feel that, luxury for me, and I think I think it's a little bit of both, from what you all have said. Um, for me, my luxury has gone with group travel for the most part, and it's the planning part of it, and making sure that we have an itinerary and things to do. But I guess the thing that I do for myself is those extra special little things, like Paul, we did afternoon tea when high tea, things like that, or having that really nice meal, or um, those experiences. Those are the things, having air conditioned.
That is not a
that's
doggone luxury. That should just be a
that's
necessity.
well, you would hope so, but it's not necessarily all the time when you travel. So to me, that's luxury.
Oh
Well,
my God.
it also depends on where you're at, right? Because Americans, we love our air conditioning kind of thing. And
Yes.
I've been in hotels that are saying that they're 4-star hotels and don't have air conditioning.
Well,
It didn't bother
not a
me,
luxury experience then. If it's
No.
sweltering outside and I'm like dying, then
No.
it's
I
now
agree with you.
not the experience is no longer, unless you're in a place where the air conditioning just isn't possible, like you're out in a tent somewhere, or I mean, that's different.
Right.
But as far as like the travel advisor that John and his team that they are, how do they help us with this type of travel? I think he really explained that. Go ahead.
No, I was just curious, because you mentioned something, Benef, when you said part of your luxury experience is, not have to dealing with, if a flight delays, whatever it may be, or whatever. You said you can call them, but if you're in an airport, like, not call them, but they take care of it. Like, when you say that, you're saying
I didn't
call
say
them,
call. I didn't say that. No, actually, they're tracking it the whole time.
Oh,
So
they're
if there,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so if they will let you
Interesting.
know in advance that there has been an issue and
Wow.
that they are taking care of it or they've already taken care of it. Yeah.
Correct.
I didn't know travel agencies do that because a lot of times I'm sitting there
Well,
calling them saying, "Hey,
It
well, even
depends
with group travel.
on the
yeah,
travel advisor. I mean, so the
Yeah.
J5 is a bespoke travel agency. So they are like kid
tracking."
gloving their clients from one
Okay.
look. I mean, and look,
So
I mean,
that
you're
is a
paying,
pamper. That is
yeah.
pampered.
Now you
Yes.
are, it's a higher end travel. So it's not
Good.
going to be, even if you're just booking a flight and a hotel, everything is going to be more because it's luxury.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
not
And
your,
typically,
yeah, go
yeah. And
ahead.
typically I was just saying, typically who I travel with as well with group travel, it may not be, as high end as John, but even in the group travel, company that I use, they do make sure that that goes seamless as far as transportation,
Mm,
where
Yeah.
you're set up and with flights and everything. So we never have to worry about certainly with that portion of it. And I think that part of it is the
yeah,
reason why I keep going back is the seamlessness of that.
yeah.
Well, and so I guess I mean, my question is, we know it's going to cost more, a lot more
Yes.
in some cases. So are we going to pay for that? Like, is that something that we do all the time? I mean, I guess some people do. I'm just trying to understand, like
No,
Americans as a whole. I don't know.
well, use your
I
experience. For example, like you don't do it every time you travel. So, for
That's true.
example, and is it does it matter if
I
it's
want
or
to.
excuse, yeah, I want to as well, right? But I does it matter on the example with J5, I believe is his company, John.
Mhm.
So that's one avenue. But what about the concierge services like Sapphire, Chase Sapphire credit card? They have that concierge service that's supposed to be kind of that. I don't know if it's that high end like John's service, but I'm thinking um, having that there and having the experience and having them do it. I don't think they're gonna weigh on you
Yeah,
like white
yeah,
glove,
I think
but
that because Chase Sapphire is
yeah,
large or corporate,
yeah. I've
organization,
used
you
them
can't get that
before.
like personal. They don't
Yeah,
know you. You know what I mean?
Right.
exactly. They try, but I've used their concierge service once, and what you were describing, Benef, when you said you used it, yeah, they gave me an itinerary. They gave it to me quick. They gave me the cheapest, or I guess the cheapest price to what I want. So if I wanted a five
Mhm.
star, they looked for the most cheapest they
Well,
had, but
cheap is not luxury. Let's just be clear.
cheapest
They gave
price,
you the most
cheapest.
I know.
comparable. They gave
I
you
mean, I
comparable.
Yeah,
mean,
let's not use the word cheap and luxury in the
okay, I
same.
don't know what the word to use, but for example, if I want to stay at the Four Seasons, they
Best
will try to
price.
give me the best
Yes, they
price
gave you the
for
best
the
price.
for the Four Season. But my point is, I like the fact that when I think of luxury, like we already agreed, it's that feeling like a celebrity where you do absolutely nothing. It's kind of like my experience when I went on La Première for France, from beginning to end, I
Right.
did absolutely nothing from
Sure. Well,
pickup.
That's Uber
Yeah.
luxury. I mean,
So,
that's a whole nother level of
well, I mean,
luxury.
like
So
Benef, you had the same situation too when you flew Emirates and all this other stuff. So that's what I think a good way of defining. But to get back to your question, is it something that we wanted to do all the time? I wish I could do it all the time, but
Yeah.
this is
right.
why, yeah, this is why in my mind, I say for me, the definition for luxury is when I can treat myself to that pampering type of lifestyle for that vacation time period that I'm doing it for.
But are you getting that, you know, are you really getting that experience that, that you really want? Is it about the luxury and the fact that you can go from one destination to the next smoothly, or is it truly really about immersing yourself in the culture and what you're going on
Yeah.
vacation for,
Yeah.
which is that experience, right?
Yeah.
It's for
It's
you to
funny
be
you
able to
mentioned,
experience
yeah,
where you
I
are,
didn't even
the
think of it that
people, the
way.
food.
Yeah.
Well,
So
because if I mean, am I really experiencing the local population if I'm, in some five-star hotel?
Well,
Probably not. You
Right.
know,
Well,
like how am I
yeah,
getting
but
in,
you are leaving the 5-star hotel to go out and immerse yourself into the
but if
city
it's
or
still
wherever
part
you
of the
are.
luxury package, it's still from
Yeah.
that
Is it still that
lens
1%?
of
Well,
luxury. It's not
so
like, I mean, I don't know.
yeah,
That's the question, because it's
and
still,
yeah, and that's why I use the example of the French Riviera, right? I go into a plush hotel, but I tend to ask if I don't want to eat at that plush hotel or something. I will ask the concierge. I'm like, hey, what's a really nice fine dining place where I can get the local culture food at a nice
Okay.
place that's very
yeah.
high
Well, I
end?
mean, and here's this may be a question that we don't want to answer, but do we really want to see the local living conditions of some of these places? Like, to be honest, do we
No,
want to?
yeah, why not? It's part
Would
of the
you?
immersing yourself
Yeah,
into
I
the
mean,
have
so
you?
if they're living,
Have
if
you?
you're going to Rio de Janeiro, you really want to go to those favelas?
yeah, as long as I know I'm going back to the Four Seasons.
But you don't want to go on no god safari, but you're going to go in some dangerous
I told you I'm a
barrio.
city boy. I can
Okay,
survive.
okay, yeah, yeah.
I
So
can
I am not
survive.
comfortable to going to no
You can
favela.
survive, but you want to be able to
Well,
go back to the
yeah.
bushy spot afterwards.
But here's the thing, I would not do it by myself though, going into
Smart,
those
yeah.
areas by
But I mean, as
myself.
a
Yeah.
female, I don't know that I'd be doing that at all. I'm not comfortable walking alone. I mean,
Even if you're with people, even if you're
I
with
mean, it has a
people.
lot of doggone people, not just being like
Mm,
another
Yeah.
girlfriend.
yeah.
I'm not doing
Yeah.
it. I
Well,
don't
and
speak
that's the
Portuguese,
thing.
like those
Yeah.
types of places. I don't, I'm not going to be in inner city areas. And so if
You
that's
made a good
like, if
point.
I go to Bangkok, I am not going to be
Mhm.
walking around in places that seem dangerous to me. But that might be where the real people are, like you get to more of the culture of, unfortunately, of some of the poverty and like the, understanding how those people really
Yeah.
live. But I don't want to.
Well, yeah, but most of the time when you're traveling anyway, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you're not seeking those places out, right? So,
no,
we've talked
right. So
we've
we're
talked
not
about this.
seeing that. We're not.
We're
But
most cities and most places you're going to visit, they're not going to, they tell you where not to go.
Yeah, that's true.
They tell you where not to
and you're
where
gonna
to
get
frequent, or
you're gonna
yeah,
get
you're going
that
to get the spiel,
information from
right?
wherever. But that's a good point though, because isn't that what the travel, for example, John's travel company would be able to do that legwork for you to be able to do that, and that's what makes it
Yeah.
feel trusting and good and luxurious, because you don't have to do any of
Yeah.
that shit
Well,
yourself.
because he knows, especially if it's a place that
And he should be
we
up on
we don't speak the
the
language,
consulate.
or it's more
Yeah.
difficult to navigate, like some of the places in Asia. They've got connections with the tour operators, with the hotels.
Mhm.
So instead of us trying to like search on the internet and hoping that picture is actually
Exactly.
real,
Exactly. He's
they've
done that
already
for
done the
you.
legwork. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
because they travel all the time, and he's got a
Mhm.
blog and he has a newsletter, and he sends out, places to go that they've vetted, that
Yeah. That's the key
I'm not
word,
going. Yeah.
is
Yeah.
vetting.
Yeah.
That will put my mind at ease if I know that, because right now I don't do that, right? The only
Mhm.
thing I
Right.
do is the chase sapphire thing, or I will do it on my own kind of thing. But you made a good point before, Benef, and I don't want it to get lost, is obviously it also differs male, female, kind of thing too as well, because there are certain things, and I totally get it and I totally respect it, that you wouldn't do that I probably like, of course, um, except for Safari. But other than that, there are things that I would be like, yeah, I'll go out to this bad area, but I won't put myself in danger, but to just immerse myself into
I
it.
feel like I
Yeah.
would be in danger just showing up. I mean,
Well, because you're a
it's just,
female, of course. In Rio
yeah.
de Janeiro, you're a
No,
female, and we
well,
all
not
know.
just that, I think it's also beyond male and female. It's just this, that you're not of there. You're not from there. So
Yeah, it'll be
you don't know the
obvious that
cues.
I don't
You don't know that.
belong.
Yeah. So I think that goes beyond male and female. I think
Yeah, I
we just
mean,
don't know.
okay, I can see that. I take that because even if you take going to when I went to Latvia, and I definitely wasn't one of the ones that looked like everybody else, clearly.
Yeah.
But I definitely can see that in the uncomfortableness of it and stuff like that too as well. But I would definitely be curious to see, or if people who are viewing, how do they define
Yeah.
luxury travel in their own right? Because these are
Mhm.
our obviously experience and expertise of what we think it is. This is not the go all, and this is
Right.
what it is, kind of
I
thing.
th- and I like for those luxury resorts that go in and buy up some land.
Mhm.
And so I have to wonder if I'm traveling there, because I've been to those resorts in Mexico or in the Caribbean, am I helping the local economy by being
Right.
there? Is that money going back to them or
You're
not? I
hoping
mean,
that it is. You're hoping
yeah.
that it is, because we all don't know, and
And
we
how
Oh,
would
chose
we
to
even
travel.
do our due diligence to like research? I mean, because it's the same kind of thing with the clothing industry. Like, are the clothes that I'm buying just fast fashion that's going to be dumped somewhere off the coast of Africa
yeah.
and they're going to be stuck with all that? Or, so this is resort. I mean, how would I even research that?
Oh, you would
Google.
hope you would hope, yes. But you would hope that just, by just going to the country or, or the city or wherever you're visiting, you're giving to the economy anyway, right? But second of all,
Yeah.
the other thing is, what I try to look for is, I mean, there's nothing wrong with asking those questions. Do you hire local? I mean, you
Yeah.
can ask those questions.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
who do you employ? Is it local, local people? Do you give back? I mean, a lot of even websites of where you're
Mhm.
staying, everybody has some type of, well, not everyone, but most people have some type of, especially the larger resorts or luxury places are going to have some kind of give back program or some kind of charity or some kind of thing that they want to tote or talk about anyway on their website. So that's definitely something that you can
Yeah.
research on your own, especially if it's part of a chain. But specifically, what I like to do also is that once I'm there and I actually try to do some type of rapport with housekeeping or someone that's there. I do that here locally myself, and getting to know the people that
Mm.
serve me, and actually having conversations like they're human beings,
Yeah.
and learning their names and finding out about them and their lives. Whether or not it's the truth or they share or whatever the circumstances are. At some point, I try to make some type of meaningful connection, and I try to give them a tip myself.
No, it is so
Um,
it's super fascinating though, because you mentioned that because I did go to the Dominican Republic and we stayed at a nice resort and yeah, just getting to know like the guy coming around bartending and the fact that his family was 7 hours away.
right.
So he would they live there somewhere near there. They get bussed in and then they get bussed out to
Mhm,
an accommodation area for all the people working the resort. And he
mhm.
works like 3 weeks on, a week off, or something like that. It was quite a bit of time that he was away from his family. Maybe it was 4 weeks on,
I
a week
question
off.
that then. I I actually question that because of the fact that, are they really, like, going back to the question on, are you, adding to the economy or to the local area that you're visiting? Because when I see someone that has to work like that,
Hmm.
I question, are they really paying them what they really, really deserve? And then I look at a place like a Dubai. They're
Mhm,
already wealthy. Like when you went
mhm.
to Dubai, when I went there, they were still building it. So I don't know what it's like now. But when you went there, knowing what it's like now, Benef, you really think, I mean,
Well,
like,
I
why do
mean,
you want to add
so
to that economy? You know what I mean? It's
well,
like
and
they're
that's the,
already
I mean,
rich.
so that's the whole debate because we went there, we
Yeah.
spoke with our driver, and I did tip him well, but he said that
Mhm.
it's very hard to get citizenship. It's not they don't get it. They're like simply no, you can't be a citizen
Mhm.
unless you're born in Dubai, like and so he's got to apply every year, and there's rules and regulations and things, but where he was from, just the opportunities weren't there. It was better for him to be
Of
in
course.
Right,
Dubai with his
But does that
family.
right.
mean that he's getting just
Yeah,
due pay? Like, is
I
he getting
don't.
Yeah,
pay that
but I
Yeah,
don't
would
think
say
but see,
no?
I don't think we should get, and that's the thing. We ourselves cannot get caught up
Mhm.
in that. I think we're only responsible for what we do and what we don't do. So I think
I
if
think we should
we
not
have,
even think about it. If that's where you wanted to go
mm,
and that's your luxury travel, destination, so be it.
It is,
Well,
but I think,
I mean, but I
but I
don't
think
want
you're
to be
supposed to have,
actively supporting a company that's actively harming the environment or the local population or the animals or something. And it
But that's
requires that
Thailand in
added
general,
step,
ain't it?
though. I
That's like
know
Thailand
that's
in
what makes it
general.
so difficult. I mean,
I feel that as individuals, I think we can do our due diligence. You live with what you live with. And you do your due diligence. Like, for instance, the best thing I can do and to say, and I'm not saying this, I swear I would never reveal this, but I have. I'm going to do this now. Um, I went to my real estate convention, happened to have happened when, do you remember when the big storm happened in, was it the Bahamas? Of many, but they had a really big storm. Like it was a
The
hurricane or something
hurricane you're
that had
talking
gone
about?
through.
Like the big
Yeah. And it
hurricane?
was I think it was our 20th anniversary for our franchise, our franchisee. And, uh, it just so happened to coincide like right after this big storm that they had, and it pretty much wiped out a lot of the island, but we were at Aladdin, we were still, this had been planned for a year. So it had been about, I guess, about 2 or 3 weeks after the storm, and the much of the island was very much, still quite in disarray and
Devastated. Yeah.
disrepair, for the most part. But here we were at Aladdin, having a party, and people were at work.
yeah,
They were there
they
because
needed
they
to
had to
work.
be there. They needed to
mean,
work, right?
Yeah.
Well, because I knew that, okay, that was the case. I brought extra clothes with me. I brought extra shoes. I brought extra clothes. I brought extra things
To
with
donate?
me. I left it in the hotel room with a note and said, this may not be for you. This may not be able to fit for you, whatever it is. And I said I would never say this because I hate people that do this. And I said I'd never be with that person. But that's what I did. And I said, if you can use this, if there's someone in the community that can use this, whatever it was, please, distribute it how you can, or if you can use it, whatever it is. And I left money. I just did.
I mean, I
And
don't see anything
that
wrong
was
with
that.
that.
Yeah.
I don't see anything
I
wrong with what
know,
you did.
but I'm not trying to say that to make myself feel better or to say, hey, but what I'm trying to say is that you can be socially responsible without
Yeah.
having to, you know what I mean? Like to worry
Right.
about whether or not the company is doing it or
Yeah.
whatever the
Yeah.
circumstances are, right? So I tried to leave behind as much as I could that I knew that I didn't need. Do you
No,
see what
no,
I'm
of
saying?
course.
Like,
That's
Of course.
true.
so
I just don't see, I'm just saying, when I had made the point of, because you are going to travel to places that
Right.
is exotic, that is completely rich and all this other stuff,
right,
that,
right.
they don't need you know what I mean? And they're well off. But me personally, I think it should be left to whatever I don't want to say it that way because it's going to make me sound like I, you know, social responsibility kind of thing. But
I'm not trying to say that you have to do that on every vacation either. Again,
yeah, no,
yeah, it doesn't have to be that way either, and it doesn't
Yeah.
have to
I
even
think
be
it's
about
just
social. It's
a matter of being
vacation.
Good
informed,
point.
though. Like if you're
It's be
informed, then you
informed.
can make that choice. But if
Yes.
I mean, I think
Exactly.
that's a better
Exactly.
way. Maybe you don't have to. Just like I can't give to every homeless person that I see while I'm driving
Exactly.
around.
Exactly.
I can be
Exactly.
informed.
I'm always
Yeah.
very mindful. Like when I went to Portugal, and we had the discussion about how it all came about. How Spain, and we're with our guide, and we were discussing that whole thing about how Spain and Portugal split the world in half, and how they started to explore and how that all came
Mhm.
about. So, and we had those discussions, how they kind of peered around, granted she was Portuguese and she was able to, have those discussions with us very candidly. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's just very interesting. So those are the types of things, that I kind of keep into perspective and have those social
Yeah.
conversations.
And I
So,
don't want to make it, where it's just,
oh, I like luxury.
responsibility
Don't
part.
get me wrong.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, there are things that trust me. I mean, just sitting here in Paris, this is considered luxury for some people because let me tell you,
Absolutely.
you guys seen it. Some of the hotels here are just like
Yeah.
I did it in, how do you say it? On my birthday, I did exactly this in the city. I said, I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm gonna detox myself from everybody on my birthday. And I literally went to the Four Seasons, which is just right down the road from me. And I pampered the hell out of myself. that was luxury travel for me.
As you should.
In where I live. It was literally 15 minutes away from me. And
Mhm.
this is where I said I'm treating myself because it's my birthday. I'm just gonna not worry about anything. I'm gonna get a nice room, which it was damn nice, and just have people, just talk to me like I'm a celebrity. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and
People
there's
should
nothing
experience that.
wrong with that. Absolutely,
There's
but
nothing wrong
again,
with, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
it is the
It
luxury.
feels
Like,
weird, but
don't be mortgaging your house for these trips now. Like it's
Oh, absolutely
it's
not.
not a necessity,
Absolutely not.
it's a luxury. That means that you've saved the money or you've got the money
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
a disposable income. It's not something, I'm not, don't be not feeding
Let's
your
answer that
kids now.
question though. Why did you do that though, Benef? Why did you feel that you needed to do a luxury travel? Let's talk a little bit on that point. Why do you
Yeah.
spend the money?
So
Why do we do that?
with the Emirates trip, it was like a reward for hard work. And I
Bingo.
felt that I was rewarding myself.
Mhm.
And that's why. Or it's like a bucket list type of trip. Because I do want to go to the Galapagos or Antarctica. And I don't want to be uncomfortable going to places that are already kind of remote and uncomfortable. So, or a safari. And that means that because I don't want to bivouac. Like that's what I
Hell
think of
no. I don't want to
army stuff. So I will, and that would be like a once in a lifetime type of thing. Because how many safaris am I really going to do? Like,
Yeah.
And so that's what I would be saving up for, or like it's a birthday. So that's how I think some
Interesting.
I guess
countries, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess this is where, like, as John said, where we've talked about this, where John from J5, he can definitely help you with something like this. I mean, even if you just consulted, may not necessarily, you know, you may not use his services immediately,
Yeah.
but he definitely can help discern.
There's definitely a value, especially at the luxury level, which is what we focus on. The idea when we're doing a trip for clients, whether it's a simple Caribbean getaway or a 4-week exploration of Europe, is to make it seamless and have 1 point or maybe 2 points of contact at J5 that you can always reach out to get an answer quickly. Everything gets put together in an online itinerary. It looks beautiful. It's simple to navigate. Everything you need is in there. There's no lots of paper documents or anything like that anymore. We do flights, transfers, hotels, tours, a few restaurant reservations, insurance, everything, visa advice if you need visas for somewhere like Bali, Australia. I forgot an Australia entry visa once for myself and had to do it at the airport, and I got away with it, which was very lucky. So
Yeah,
I know now to tell clients well in advance what they need to fill in, that sort of thing.
That right, Benef? I mean,
yeah. I mean, and even just his blog, where they've got places they recommend. They've got he does one a newsletter, a blog weekly, and it lists. He likes to do like the top 5 of whatever. It's super useful. So yeah,
We'll be
like
sharing that we can share that on this podcast.
just
to
give us
Definitely.
that knowledge, and because they've done that research.
So I hope you guys have enjoyed. We're actually going to put John's information at the bottom also in the link, so you guys can follow his blog. And also, if you want to book travel with John and J5, that we'd really appreciate any feedback that you have on this show and any of our other shows. Don't forget to check out our season 1 and our lovely, now we're in season 2. I'm still so excited about that. So please tell all your friends. We'd love to grow the show. We'd love to continue to speak with you and have some really great ideas for some great shows, but we want to hear from you. So please like, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe and share. We would love to be able to continue coming to you. So guys, till next time.
Till next time.
Yeah.
Auf Wiedersehen.